All right, everybody, so for today, we're going to be looking at some of our more challenging questions. So our first one, we have y by itself, so we are ready to plug that in. So we have negative 3x minus 3 times y equals 3, and then y in this case is equal to negative 5x minus 17. So from here, we can distribute in. It is negative 3. We're going to have positive 15x, and we are going to have positive 3 times 17, which is 51, equal to 3. Combine our like terms. Subtract our 51. Divide by 12. And we're going to get x equals negative 4. Once we have this, we're ready to pop over to our y equation. Plug in that x value. And get a y answer of positive 3. So careful to pay attention to negatives in that first one, but for the most part, it is just substitution, but we do have to plug in a slightly bigger term. This one says substitution only, so we want to get x or y by itself. If we take a look at our first equation, it's ready for us to do that because we already have a single x term, so we can just subtract 3y from both sides to get x equals 1 minus 3y. And then now we can take this 1 minus 3y and plug it in for x in our equation here. So for our next step, negative 3 times 1 minus 3y minus 3y equals negative 15. And we can start to distribute. Combine our like terms, paying attention to our signs. Add 3 to both sides, again paying attention to our signs. And here, dividing by 6 to get y equals negative 2. And now that we have y equals negative 2, we are ready to plug that back into our x equation. So final answer here is 7 comma negative 2. All right, so for our next one, we do have to multiply before we are ready to eliminate. So we can choose to eliminate x or y. I'm going to choose to eliminate y in this case. So the opposite of negative 15 is positive 15. So in order to get from positive 5y right here to positive 15 here, we're going to have to multiply by 3. So to do this, we will get negative 3x, positive 15y, and negative 39 once we distribute this in to each of our terms. So recopying what we have up top, we'll cancel out our y terms. And then from there, we'll get negative 7x is equal to, and then negative 39 minus 17, get us negative 56. Divide both sides by negative 7. And we should get x equals positive 8. So now that we have this positive 8 term, gotta find a little bit of room to do our work here. We can go back to any of our equations. I'm going to choose the second one. We'll do negative parentheses 8 plus 5y equals negative 13. We can add 8 to both sides. 5y equals negative 5. Divide both sides by 5. And we'll get y equals negative 1. So our two answers are x equals 8 and y equals negative 1. Our last equation is the challenge because there's nothing that we can multiply to get a direct cancellation, so we'll have to multiply them by each other. So nothing times 3 gets us 5, nothing times 4 gets us 6. That's a whole number. So what we want to do is multiply the top one by 3, the bottom one by negative 5. Notice that I'm getting these from our leading coefficients. I'm just swapping them around from our different equations, and that should help us get the answer that we're looking for. So distributing each of these in. And then whenever you're not sure, which I'm going to do this for 14 times 3, just go into the calculator and double check. So we're going to get negative 42 for this. And even if you're like, I'm pretty sure, you don't want to make a mistake, especially on the first step of the process where you'd have to redo everything. That would be really sad. All right, so ready to line these up now. The x's cancel out. We're left with negative 18y equals negative 72. We can divide 72 by 18. And we'll get an answer of y equals positive 4. And then now we're ready to plug this back in. So 3x plus 6 times 4 equals 6. Distribute that in. Subtract our 24. Divide by 3. Get x equals negative 6. So a bit of a process here for this one, a little bit more multiplication, but